All right, this is Friday morning, and we are out in the little town of Sturgis, which is northwest of Rapid City, some 25 miles. And we are working on a individual project. It's a one-day. Actually, we'll be here maybe 4 hours. It's 8:45 right now, and it takes about 4 hours to do this project. And it's in the Boulder Creek drainage that comes out of Boulder Canyon. That's the road that goes between Sturgis and Deadwood. And there's a channel that comes down through here that is sort of a storm runoff channel that goes through the town of Sturgis. And we are evaluating this for its ability to pass what we call the Q500, or the 500-year event flow, which is calculated at about 17,000 cubic feet per second. And so the students are doing an evaluation at every bridge, culvert crossing, any type of structure that exists in this little watershed as we walk through here, to make the determination on whether or not it'll pass that flow. And so they're measuring the width and the depth and assigning hydrologic parameters to their measurements, calculating a velocity, and then ultimately coming up with a discharge that is able to pass through these structures. And then they will just simply be rating them for whether or not it's able to pass that flow or not. So this is kind of like a first step assessment that one would do for the health and the efficacy of a watershed through a municipality like Sturgis. And so I'm standing in the channel. You can see behind me there's the concrete side of the channel in here. So the flow comes around a bend behind me. It goes straight underneath both lanes of I-90 and a service road. And then it's going to swing east, then go through the north part of the town of Sturgis. And so we're just getting started. They're pacing off the width and assessing a depth and making measurements, and they're doing all the calculations on a map. So they have a base topo map. It's on an 11 by 17 sheet of paper, so they have some room to work. And they're going to just number and label every crossing, and then draw a little profile what the cross-sectional area looks like, assess its flow volume. Is it able to pass that 17,000 cubic feet per second or not? So that's the assignment. It's a lot of fun walking through here. It takes about 3 to 4 hours to walk through here. It's like 17 structures and crossings that they'll end up assessing. Okay, so here's the first crossings. These are the bridges across I-90, and the east side has a concrete side on it, and that is because if we look upstream, we can see the stream channel comes up there, and as it approaches this area, it's sweeping around and turning to the north. And so the high bank of the water, the most erosional energy is going to be on this bank, and so that's concrete protected for scour. And you can see all the scratches in the concrete. So through the years there have been tremendous amount of rocks and boulders. The size of the material in here is quite large. So 1 foot diameter cobbles and boulders in here are quite common. And if these things are moving under a high flood flow, they're going to be scoring up and banging against the concrete, and you can see that wear and tear right there on the concrete. The bridge piers underneath I-90 are all braced with steel on the edges, so they're kind of giving it a little extra protection against the banging of the boulders against the piers. Okay, we're on the other side of the interstate bridges now. We started up there and have come down through here. Here's some feet markers on here, 2, 3, 4, 5, up to 11 up there. So the first calculations that came through, again, we're trying to fit the 17,000 cubic feet per second. And that first bridge right up here was calculated about 18,500. So he is able to pass a 17,000 cubic foot per second flow. And that's exactly what we need to make determinations on, is what's able to be passed under these structures. So this one should work as well. Might be slightly wider, so that's going to help. It's a smaller bridge, but I think it's still got the height to do it. You can see all these piers are all armored with steel. Alright, so we got through the bridges, and so there's the interstate bridges, the little highway bridge for the service road. Then there's a series of 2 hydraulic jumps, which are just like concrete walls. One there, one right down here. And then essentially a third one as it goes off that concrete down into the channel. So what happens with each one of those is when the flow comes over that wall, it immediately expands into a larger cross-sectional area, which means it slows the flow down. So if the flow has a greater area to flow through, then it is going to lower the velocity. And then it comes over this next one down here, does the same thing, and then it jumps down into the next one down there, and then it gets into a much steeper, deeper channel. And this is kind of what it's like for the next half mile going into town. So again, very coarse cobble bottom. It has gabion baskets on the side of the wall, which are just wire baskets filled with the same type of coarse river rock. And it's an erosion control device. And it has worked just intermittently here. There's a lot of scour. Baskets are broken. So you look down here, you can see those baskets are all twisted up. The rocks are gone. This whole thing is kind of slid down. You can see the baskets have slid. And then over there, you can see the same thing. They've slid down on that side over there. And then they kind of hold together further down in here. But kind of a deep trench in here, and that's by design. That's how it's supposed to be. Erosion control inside. You keep the water hustling through here with a pretty good velocity now because it narrows up again. And so these weirs coming down around the corner are just to mitigate the energy coming around this bend. So if you imagine we got 17,000 cubic feet per second flowing down here, and it comes straight at this bank right under my feet. This would be a huge erosional bank. So you step it down, slow the velocity a little bit, let the water make the turn, and then you can pick up speed again and hustle on down that canyon. Okay, I bounced out around the students a little bit and came down to their next crossing that I can meet them on the road, and they're walking down through the channel. And so we're probably about a mile from where we started now, and the students went through that first series of bridges across the interstate and then down those hydraulic jumps, and now they've got a pretty long straight stretch of channel that comes in from around the corner. And I've got my Mick Cafe Mocha Frappe. Have to get one of those every year out here. They're going to come around that corner, and the interstate's over there, so they came on this big hook, and now they're going to work their way down through here. So the channel is pretty consistent through here, so they assess it in one place, and as long as it doesn't change dimensions, they're good. And then they're going to do the same type of assessments on all these crossings. Okay, so this is a brand new structure. It's just a couple of years old, and it used to be where the road would come up from this side over here, and it would drop down and go through the crossing and up, and there was like one culvert down there. It was a foot in diameter or something like that, and half plugged with gravel from what I remember. And it was a really bad place, and so in high water, if the road itself didn't get washed out, whoever lives up on the other side up here are stranded and couldn't get out. And so I've been doing this assessment in here for I think like maybe 2006 or something like that. That's when we started doing this, and it was really bad shape then. Now it's in really good shape. They put in 2 or 3 new bridges. They've taken out old crossings and rerouted their roads and different things in here, and so this channel should have no problem passing the 17,000 cubic foot per second flow. So I just got here and am waiting for the first students, who are already around the corner out of sight when I left the other place. So they ought to be coming around that corner pretty quick. They usually shoot down through here pretty fast because it's just, again, walking down the same diameter channel all the way. Okay, we're pretty much at the east end of Sturgis right now, and there's 1, 2, maybe 3 more crossings. We're only doing 1 more after the one they're working on right now, and then we're going to call it good because the channel then exits town and it starts flowing out east of town. So, like I say, years ago there was a lot of problems in this channel. Now there is not, and so it's nice and wide and broad. Nice bank over there, and on this side now, this surface is several feet lower than the other side, so if the channel gets full, the flow just pops up and comes over in this park and floods through here, and everything is fine. This crossing here is 6 culverts, and then the one down at the far end down here is a bridge with 5 culverts. I don't know if those will be able to handle the 17,000 CFS, but again, in this situation, if the flow bumps up out of the channel, it's okay, because you've got this huge floodplain flat surface on the north side of the channel that would be able to contain the flow. So let's take a closer look at this, and then the one down below is about the same, so I don't think I'll go down there with them. I'll let them head down there, then come back up here. Here's so kind of oblong culverts, so we're assuming an average diameter and calculating discharge of 1, then multiplying by 6.
So you just figure out what the capacity of one culvert is, and it's multiplied by 6. Now, certainly it's going to flow up over this if it's more, but let's just go ahead and report the capacity of the actual engineer.
Okay, so I think that's about it. From here we head back. They turn this in before we get in the vans. When we go back, they finish up their Rapid Creek hydrology reports, and they'll be presenting those possibly even this evening. They're really far along on it. If not, sometime tomorrow, and then we're done for the week. So we'll be doing this again for the next 2 weeks. We got 2 weeks left in this camp. So hope you enjoyed coming along with us this week and doing some hydrology and some fun field trip things. So thanks for watching. See ya.